Hi there, Bill Greenberg with PhoneScholar.com. Today is Wednesday, April 13th, 2011. Here's a brief summary of what we got going on the website. But to check out the entire articles, please go to www.phonescholar.com. And of course, you can follow me on Twitter or like me on Facebook. And I am very proud to say, after yesterday's request, that I did write a bunch of the intros here, including one almost full article. So enjoy and let's go. Samsung Galaxy Prevail, and Noah over at Technobuffalo did a very nice video on the new Prevail, which is the first smartphone for a Boost Mobile. Looks like a pretty nice phone for the money, 180 bucks. I won't go over, I'll go some of the specs. I put this out just recently. I actually put out the thing, but this is the video of it. 3.2-inch screen, 2 megapixel camera for you, $50 a month with the unlimited plan. On the shrinkage plan, and as I explained, if you pay on time for 6 months, it'll take it back $5 a month all the way down to $35 a month. And at $35 a month, that's a great price. Noah was not too impressed with the camera, but the actual workings of the phone weren't too bad. So if it's something that you're into, go ahead and check out the video, and looks like a nice little phone. Next, 4G phone shootout. Which phone is fastest? And I actually took this from an article in Computer World, but I wrote up what's on the website today because the article is very long, but I thought it was very poignant, so I just made a summary of the article on the website. And here's an even bigger summary. Basically what they did is they took 4 phones: the Thunderbolt from Verizon, the Galaxy S from T-Mobile, the Atrix from AT&T, and the EVO Shift from Sprint, went into 5 different cities: Seattle, San Jose, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and Las Vegas, tested 10 to 12 areas in those cities, and came up with the conclusions of who's the fastest. And it was not even a contest. The Thunderbolt from Verizon was by far the fastest. In fact, it averaged almost 20 megabits per second in the download, almost 8 megabits per second in the upload, which is phenomenal speeds. In fact, in only 7 of the 52 areas did it get less than 10. In a number of places it was getting upwards towards 30. Just to give you an example, the next was the Galaxy S by T-Mobile, and they averaged almost 4. Remember, the Thunderbolt was almost 20. They almost have 4 and 1.13. Atrix was next at about 1.7 in the download and 0.2 in the upload. And then the EVO Shift on the WiMAX was last at 1.5 and 0.56. They also did the latency, which is the time it takes to go from one step to the other. And the Verizon Wireless had a 57 millisecond latency, which anything under 100 is considered excellent. T-Mobile had 103. AT&T had 247, and the Sprint had 237. Now, some of this speculation is the fact that since the LTE, the Verizon LTE, it was the last one to get going, and there's not as many users on it. This is why the absolute tremendous speeds. I think there's some validity to that. As it gets busier and busier, will they come down? Yes, but I work for Verizon. I know their engineering. I know how they work. Their system, their network was always a step ahead of everybody else's, so I think the LTE is going to be that way too. Their 4G LTE is going to be that way too. So will it come down to all the other ones? No, I think it'll still stay ahead of the other ones and put up some terrific things. The other thing also with AT&T is there's speculation that they were actually throttling the area at the time, not just in general doing throttle of the area at the time. So that's why their speeds were so low. But in other tests that we've seen, they haven't been that much better. But this is the first multi-area, multi-function test that I have seen. Really good. The entire article, like I said, is a little bit long, but well worth the read. So go ahead and check it out. Next, Acer's first Android 3.0 tablet, priced at $449. And Acer, which has been a long time, very economical, but an excellent company in PCs, notebooks, laptops, stuff like that, is now going into the Android tablet market. $449, which is $50 less than the iPad, for a Wi-Fi version, 10.1-inch screen, 16 gigabyte version, but it does have a card that can get you up to 32. Honeycomb, it's going to be Honeycomb. It's going to be a dual-core 1 gig processor, plays HD games and videos. 5 megapixel rear camera, 2 megapixel front camera. It's called the Iconia Tab A500, and for $449, launching on April 24th, it looks like it could be a very nice unit. I'm going to venture to say Best Buy, Target. They haven't put out exactly who's going to be carrying it yet, but looks like it might be a good unit, could be a good player at the price range. So go ahead and check it out, check out the article, and hopefully I'll have a video on it from somebody real soon. Next, HTC EVO 3D coming this summer to Sprint, hopefully. I had one of my listeners or viewers or watchers, I'm not even quite sure what to call them right now, followers, put it out, sent a question saying, why haven't I done anything about this? And the funny thing is, I went to my archives for both Sprint and HTC to send him the link to what I did, and I realized I never did put out anything about the EVO 3D, and I think the main reason is mostly because they first said it was announced in Europe, it wasn't coming to the US, and I don't like putting out rumors, speculations, things that aren't going to be coming out for months and months and months unless it's something that's going to be well known, and I should have done something like this, so here's the information on it. The article, I have all the information, but there's also a hands-on video from Engadget at CTIA. There's a promo video from HTC. I put the link to the webpage for HTC, so you should get all the information you want on it. Here's the specs. It's going to be a 3D screen without needing glasses, which is going to be really cool, really good. It has a new HT Sense on it that I talked about, the sensation yesterday with the active lock, faster browsing. It has the HTC Watch, which is the instant streaming, really cool. It's going to have a 1.2 dual-core gigahertz processor, so what's being now labeled as superphones, 1.2 gigahertz, 4.3-inch QHD screen, which is the same as the Matrix type of screen, or excuse me, the Atrix, sorry. Dual 5 megapixel cameras on back for high definition shooting or 3D shooting with dual flash, and a 1.3 front, and it will shoot in 1080p in 2D and 720p in 3D. Obviously you can't play back 3D video but because of the format, but you can link it up digitally to I can't play in 1080 on the format, but if you hook it up to a screen that can, it will play back in 1080. Next, root-friendly Android device listed by unrevoked. Now, for those of you who are not either familiar with rooting or haven't wanted to do rooting or are afraid to do rooting, I also put a link to lifehacker.com that shows you how and why it is okay to root your Android devices. But going back on the other one, the link to the unrevoked to check out all the devices, and there's also a list of the devices, and basically it lists them by the easiest ones that are supported in the root, the ones that are easy to root, not so easy to root, stuff like that. And you just go down and you can see which device, if you have it, if it's easy to root. And then at the very bottom, there is a link to how to, I'm sorry, this is for the next one, so I apologize. There's a link to, like I said, Lifehacker to show you how exactly to root your Android device. So go ahead and check that out. Next, under the categories under Verizon Wireless, under tablets, custom kernel enables micro SD card slot on Motorola Xoom. So if you are afraid or if you're tired of waiting for Motorola to make that 32 gig slot that they have on their active, there is a way. You do have to have a rooted Xoom. You have to root it. And then there's a way to get that active. And again, there's a link at the bottom of the article for XDA developers that shows you exactly through the Tiamat, what they're calling Tiamat system, to be able to set that up to be able to use your 32 gig card. And according to them, it works absolutely perfect. I saw some of the comments underneath, and all the people that had done it said it works without a glitch. It's not a problem. They're very happy to use it, and you can put more memory in there, more music, more pictures, and take it on the go. So this way you don't have to work for Motorola, but you do have to root it for that, which you can go back to the last article and see how to do that. And lastly, under T-Mobile, T-Mobile has announced new unlimited plans. The Even More plan for $79.99, which requires a 2-year contract, and the Even More Plus for $59.99 that has no contract required. I put a link for the Even More $79.99 to the T-Mobile website and a link to the T-Mobile website itself. The $59.99 Even More Plus doesn't show up anywhere on the website, so you're probably going to have to call and ask them how to do it. It's not even under the prepaid, which is where I thought it would be, so it's not on there. Now they are saying this is for a limited time only. And the drawback is if you are a heavy user, it is completely unlimited. There's no overcharges for anything, for the data or anything. But if you're a heavy user and you go over 2 gigabytes, they will throttle your unit. And as I explained on this, for those of you who aren't familiar with throttling, seriously, think about what throttling means. It means, you know, when somebody grabs you by the throat and strangles you, tries to throttle you, it cuts off your airflow. That's kind of what it is. They are literally cutting off your data speeds, so your downloads take longer, things like that, and that way it doesn't jam up their data network as much. So if you go over 2 gigs on a regular basis for the rest of the month, you will be throttled. So you do have to check that out. There's also a full press release in the article. Hey, I'm sorry I went over a little bit, kind of long, but a lot of information. I hope it's good for you. Have a great day. I'll talk to you tomorrow.